Good afternoon, Facebook folks. Good afternoon, everyone out there in Zoom land. I'm Daryl Brewer. I'm the Economic Development Manager here at the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to another State of Your Business webinar. I'm here with my cohort, the legend, Bob Ray Sanders. Bob Ray, unmute yourself, and are you there?
I am now. I had to unmute myself. You want me to do some announcements here, Daryl? Is that what you're asking me for?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we'll begin with the most pressing thing for the chamber, that is, and that's our annual luncheon, which will be tomorrow. Dr. Case Lawal, an incredible businessman who's here. He's also an owner of a bank, the only Black-owned national bank in Texas and Georgia. He'll be here tomorrow to speak to our luncheon guests, much of which will be virtually, but we will have about 150 or 60 people inside the Hilton Hotel. Those will be mostly our corporate sponsors who have really helped us out this year, and our thanks go out to them. But Dr. Lawal will be speaking on banking relationships in times like these. Now, virtually, you'll need to go to a Zoom link, which has been sent to, I think, all of our members and a lot of our special supporters who've been out there. You should have gotten it. If you haven't, check our Facebook page or give us a call here, and we'll make sure that you are able to get that, because you will want to hear this speech tomorrow. It begins at noon and will go until about 1:15 or so, we hope. So join us for our annual luncheon. Also, something we have every month, the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m., we have the Let's Get Connected networking event. And that's where you can join again virtually this month. Hopefully by next month, we'll be able to do it in person. But the networking event, Let's Get Connected, 7 p.m. On the second Thursday of every month. Also, an annual monthly event, the Next Level Entrepreneur School, the third Tuesday of each month. This is a 2-hour interactive workshop giving you instructions and learning skills like marketing, digital marketing, accounting, bookkeeping, budgeting, bids and quotes, pricing, costs of goods sold, etc. The things you need to know about starting a business and keeping a business going. That is the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. So join us for that. A reminder too that, and we only got a couple of days left for this, if you've been getting unemployment benefits through the federal government, in addition to the ones you get through the state, those federal benefits will be voided basically on June 26th, because Governor Abbott has decided Texas will no longer accept the government benefits from the federal government. So June 26th is the last time you'll get that extra $300 per week. And this just in, and I hope I get this right, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, along with a couple of other agencies, are asking employee application submission period to begin for employers who want to implement internship programs. So these are paid internship programs that the state will help you do. So if you want to get interns in, but this is for spring 2022, summer 2022, and fall 22. But the submission deadline is July 30th, 2021. We'll be putting this on our Facebook page as well as on our website so that you'll have a chance, if you're wanting to bring some young people in for an internship next year, you'll need to do that by applying for it by July 30th, 2021. So you have a little over a month to do that. And Daryl, those are my announcements for the day.
All right, Bob Ray. Appreciate you bringing that information to us. Just want to make a couple notes on some of the things that you said. One, the Let's Get Connected. We're also going to have a mid-year report for the chamber so that you can find out what we've been doing this year in more detail. The Let's Get the Entrepreneurial School. We will have Marlon Rollins of Rollins and Associates, RPMG. I think that's how it goes. And he's going to talk about bids and completing bids. And then as it relates to the state as it relates, when you were talking about the state there and the internships, the state will pay half of the salary of the intern. So look at that in more details, but that's essentially why you would like to get involved, because you get an intern for half the price. So who wouldn't want to do that, right? But you have to apply and get qualified and da-da-da-da-da. You know how it goes when you talk about governments. So that's the deal on that. And again, want to welcome everyone to our State of Your Business webinar. We're coming from 1150 South Freeway here at the Business Assistance Center at I-35W and East Rosedale. You have plenty of, this is the opportunity where you can get help for your small business. Not only is the Fort Metropolitan Black Chamber here, but we have the Small Business Development Center. We have 3 funding agencies that can fund you money from $5,000 up to like $12 million. Scores here. So if you need mentoring for your business, as well as the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. So there's even an incubator system here as well. So this campus is to help small businesses grow and develop. So we're happy to have you here. If you'd like to join us here at the 4th Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, you can go to our website at FWMBCC.org, www.fwmbcc.org. Click on membership and you see where you can join. If you have less than 50 employees, it's only $200 a year on your anniversary date to continue, $200 once a year. And that allows you to become a member and get involved with the connections that we can make for you and on your behalf. While you're on that website, you can go to the Economic Development tab, click on it, drop down, and you can see where you can complete bids for places like the City of Fort Worth, Fort Worth ISD, Arlington, City of Arlington, Arlington ISD, DFW Airport. So that information is right there for you want to register. If you want to register to be one of their vendors, you can do that right through our website. You can also go on our calendar and see all the events that we have going on. And we would just love to have you. If you want to be a volunteer, you know, let us know. You can reach me directly at 817-871-6558, 817-871-6558. My email is dbrewer@fwmbcc.org. That's dbrewer@fwmbcc.org. Now, as we go into our, as we go into our, as somebody's calling me already, I guess. Wait till I get off the air. As we go into our economic development portion, we're talking this past month mostly about education and training following high school. So we're talking about you graduate from high school, now what? And we had Youth Build through the Community Learning Center on, and they had free training, ages 16 to 24 if you qualified. It just basically means if you get food stamps or some type of help like that, you 99% qualify. And so they have construction training, they have welding, they have OSHA certifications, those sorts of things. And and that training is free. So if you want to know anything about this information, you can go onto our Facebook page and you'll be able to see that video, as well as the next one we had, because people always ask me, ladies ask, well, what do you have for women? And not to say this is just for women, but Blessed Hands Medical Training School, they provided on training for EKG and phlebotomy, where you start out, when you finish after 6-8 weeks or whatever, you $16 to $18 an hour. So today, our next stop is Tarrant County College. Tarrant County College has been a great partner of ours for a number of years, and they're going to come on and talk to us about the type of training you could get at Tarrant County College, what they have to offer. And we just want you to know, even if you don't need it, maybe your nephew, cousin, maybe a friend of yours can provide this information for their student. And today I have Jessica Tran. She's a career and technical education success coach at Tarrant County College. She's there at the South Campus. Jessica, are you there?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, Jessica, how are you today?
I'm good.
Well, awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Let the audience get to know you a little bit.
So again, my name is Jessica Tran. Jessica Seminole Tran, so I'm Hispanic. My husband's Asian, so that's why I have the Tran. But I've been with the district for about 14 years. Right now, what I really do in my role as a CT success coach is help students that are interested in our technical programs, but I tend to really try to know as much as I can as every type of industry possible, because I have students that come in, they're like, I have no idea what I want to do. Can you help me pick a career path? And sometimes I just go, what do you like? What do you don't like? Do you have time to do this? Do you have time to do that? Just try to find their career paths.
Right. I can appreciate that. What did you always want to do when you were little? What did you play with? We had friends and we told, man, they keep taking the radios apart and this and that apart and putting it back together. Well, okay, you just need to be an electrical engineer or something. An automobile mechanic. So that's where your gifts are. I have a friend. I talk about myself that at 8-10 years old, I was cutting yards. Not that I needed the money. It was just the thing I wanted to do, or that even when I was selling breakfast tickets for my dad at church, I would sell the tickets for him, and then that morning I'd come back and give him a report on the ones that I sold and the ones that I gave people credit. And I would do that on one day or a few hours. So everybody has their gift, and it's, finding that gift is important and making life easy for us to be successful economically. So I certainly appreciate where you're coming from. Well, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can share your screen if you like. And and by the way, anybody, if you have questions, please type your if you're on the Zoom, type your questions into the chat or to the Q&A section. If you're on Facebook, type your questions into the comments section, and either location, we will read them aloud and answer them aloud. Jessica, you have the floor, as they say.
Okay. Thanks for everybody for being here. Today, I'm going to be presenting on our technical programs, but I'm going to try to touch on many of the opportunities that TCC has to offer. So let's go ahead and get started. So TCC has 5 physical campuses around Tarrant County. We have the South, which is where I'm homed at, by Forest Hill. We have Southeast in Arlington, Northeast in Hearst, Trinity River in downtown Fort Worth, Northwest by Lake Worth. And we technically have a 6th campus, and it's an online campus. So there are a handful of degrees that students can get completely online. And if you hear screaming, I have a parrot, so I'm sorry about that. But one of the great things about TCC is how affordable it is. I love to compare our school to TCU. I have a lot of friends that went to school at TCU, work at TCU, and it's ridiculous how expensive they are. It's a great school, But if you're getting a lot of your basics out of the way, things like math, history, government, those basic academic core classes, it's great to start at a place like Tarrant County College because it's so economically benefit. Like it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to go to our school. And most of the students that apply for FAFSA will get like their tuition covered most of the time. Most of the time they have extra money to buy books or supplies, computers, things like that. So TCU, it's around $50,000 a year. And I have friends that say that's on the low ball, you know, add another 10 grand once you add all the fees and board and football stadiums and all this other stuff. One of our goals at TCC is to keep our tuition low. So we do everything we can to keep our tuition very low. And one thing that is missing from this chart is our for-profit schools. They're ridiculously expensive too. I have students that I work with all the time because I actually do high school visits to you know, do these types of presentations to high school students just to give them options. I have students signing up for technical programs and I'm like, how much are they charging you? And they have no idea. They give them a spot, they're all signed in, all registered, and they have no idea how much they're going to pay for it. I'm like, you know, it's like 50 grand when, you know, if you end up paying out of pocket at TCC, it's going to be, I don't know, less than $5,000. Okay. So it's a big difference. So I've had a student, actually a student from Poly, tell me that he had signed up for a for-profit school and that he had to pay $2,500 a month to keep up with his tuition. I'm like, you're not even going to be that close at TCC. It's maybe $250 a class, you know? So him switching over to TCC gave them the opportunity to go to school at a reasonable price. So before I get into our technical programs, we have a ton of Associates of Arts degrees. Now, these degrees here are meant for students that are wanting to transfer to a four-year school. Okay, so an Associate's Arts degree is a general degree, especially for students that don't know what they want to do. That's a great place to start, but I really try to encourage them to really think about what their end goal is, what kind of job they're going to get into, what kind of industry they want to get into, what kind of degrees are they wanting to get into. Because sometimes students think, I'll get a degree and then I'll figure out the job later. Like, no, we have to see what's available now in the workforce. Or I have some students that say, you know, I actually have some students that say, I want to be a doctor, but I want to be a nurse first. I'm like, that's not the same career path. So we have to explain that to them. So we have associate's art degrees, general degrees. We have business degrees. TCC has a lot of associate of arts degrees, technical degrees in business that don't completely transfer to a four-year school. I made that mistake when I was in school. I was a business major. But this specific degree is meant for students that are planning to transfer to a four-year school to be a business major, to earn a bachelor's in business. We have the Cornerstone Honors Program, which is a cohort for students, and they get a lot of extra lab times, extra projects that makes their resume look really good once transferring to a four-year school. Kinesiology, music, which is actually learning to read, write, understand how music is put together. Visual arts, that's like painting, sculpting, things like that. And we also have an Associate of Arts in Teaching, which is a great program. Our students do our 2-year program. And then in that process, we're actually training them to be teachers. But once in the state of Texas, you need a bachelor's degree. So what we do is partnerships with other schools like Texas Tech and Tarleton, where the student does 1 more year through those schools, and then they earn their bachelor's in teaching, okay? Okay, and we have a ton of Associate of Science degrees. These are for students that are interested in being doctors or engineers, things like that. And now I'm going to go through each campus, and I'm going to start with my campus, of course, the South Campus. It was the very first one built. Okay, so these are most of our programs. We're constantly adding programs. And I know right now during the whole COVID break from actually being on campus, a lot of our administration has added new programs. And some of them aren't listed on here, but these are most of them. So we do have an architectural program. That's for students that are wanting to be like an assistant to an architect. Now, getting this degree does not make them an architect. It just gives them the basics. You definitely have to get a bachelor's, even a master's degree to be an architect. But this is a good place to start. We also have a ton of automotive programs, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But we have the general automotive program. We have a specialization in Toyota. We have a collision repair program, so auto body. Every single campus has business programs. We specialize in business and management. And I believe all of our campus also have IT. So we have cybersecurity. On South, game design is a big one. Game simulation and animation, so making 3D characters on a computer. Mission critical operations data center, network support, programming, and web and internet services. Also on South, we have a big one called computer aided drafting and design technology, or CAD. So kind of almost like the game design where you actually create, in this one, you actually create products. So we have two specializations, one in building and civil, so like designing buildings on a computer, or manufacturing, which is designing products. So things like maybe a student wants to design a new wrench, and they could draw that product on paper, they can design it on the computer, and they can also print it. We have 3D printers where they actually can manufacture their product. Another big one on South is the construction management program. We have a beautiful facility for that. We teach students all the basics of construction, but the overall goal of this program is for our students to be supervisors. So they have to learn how to budget, how to read blueprints, how to run construction crews. Part of the program at the end, when they graduate, they actually have to do, actually go out and work and prove that they have these skills before they graduate. We also have the electrical lineman program, or line technician program, and I'll get into that one in just a second. We have a ton of electronics programs. My favorite one is robotics. Anybody interested in building robots? Now, I talk to a lot of high school students. We have a robot that looks like Johnny Five from the movie Short Circuit from the 80s, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like, no, it's Johnny Five's alive. We have one. And they're like, yeah, we don't know. But another big one on South is the heating and air conditioning program. So students learn how to work, on AC units. We have two specializations, the commercial side and the residential side. So residential, people's houses, a lot smaller units. The commercial ones, we have these rooms that just have these huge units in it. And our students learn how those work and how to repair those. We have the industrial maintenance program. That one actually touches on a few of the other programs. So there's a little bit of construction management, a little bit of HVAC, there's a little bit of welding, there's a little bit of every program in there. And of course, we have the welding program. So this is one of my favorites programs. I work a lot with this program. My husband went through this program. I think my father-in-law actually did this program too. And then my husband just recently finished this program. I love this program. So automotive, we have, and something else I forgot to mention. So we have degrees. So an AAS, Automotive Service Technology degree. We also have certificates of completion. So we have a certificate in engine analysis and heavy line technician. The difference is basically the certificates is the degree. It's the exact same classes, the exact same students in the same classes, but the certificates don't have academic classes attached to them. So sometimes I have students that say, Jessica, I want to do automotive or something similar. And they say, I don't want to do history, government, speech. I don't want to do those academic classes. I don't have time for that. I just want to learn the skill. Great, we have that for you. Those are the certificates. Now, if the student earns the certificates and later says, hey, I want the degree, they can go back and earn those academic classes and earn the degree. Okay. If they earn the degree, they also earn the certificates at the same time. So the student will get awarded all three if they get the degree. And I believe it's just 5 additional academic classes. So it's not that much. So our automotive program is certified through the National Automotive Technicians Education Foundation. We touch on all repairs of vehicles. We touch on different years, makes, models, and they're taught in a real world type garage. So basically we could put a sign up on there and open for business. Like, we want them to be familiar with the environment before we send them off to actually go work at a shop. So we also have a specialization in Toyota. So this one is a cohort. Students have to apply to get into the program. The really cool thing about this program, it has a paid internship attached to it. So 3 days out of the week, they're in class with us. 3 other days out of the week, they're working at a Toyota dealership. So they already have a job before they even graduate. Okay, there are some requirements to get in. They have to be interviewed with our coordinator for T10. They have to have a driver's license. A lot of our students are fresh out of high school and don't have a driver's license. They need to have one. They have to have a clean driving record. They have to pass a drug test, background check. All that really is to be employed with the dealership. And they have to meet or be met in writing, reading, and math for their TSI test, or SAT, or be met through SAT or ACT. Okay, and Tracy Miller is was our coordinator. Now he's our department chair. And if students are interested, they can email Tracy Miller at tracy.miller@tccd.edu. So the welding program, I don't need to advertise for this program. We have a bunch of people interested in this program. The only reason I really want to bring it up is if you know someone that's interested in our welding program, get them to register ASAP, soon as possible. Don't wait, because the seats fill up very, very quickly. So again, we have a 2-year degree. We have a basic and advanced welding certificate. Most students can do really well with the basic certificate, but employers want to see you know as much as you can and do as much as you can, so you are more desirable. So I always say get the advanced certificate if you have the chance. Now, the electrical lineman program or line technician program is fairly new. We're doing, there's a lot more interest in the program now. Now that the word's out that the program's on our campus. Basically, an electrical line technician repairs electrical poles. They also do underground work, but this is what, if you see the picture, this is basically what people think of an electrical line tech. It's not the same thing as being an electrician. Okay, they don't wire houses, so it's 2 different things. This job pays fairly well, 6 figures. It is a little bit of a dangerous job. That's why it pays so well. And most of these employees, they work a lot of overtime. So basically, you know, when our power goes out, they're the ones that go and repair them. Okay, so now the Trinity River campus, this one's in downtown Fort Worth. And I will say it's our most popular campus because it's our most renovated, up-to-date campus. Everybody wants to be at the cool campus. The big programs here are the allied health programs. So, and the biggest one is our nursing program, but we have a ton of other stuff that sometimes people don't hear about. We have physical therapist assistants, so students that want to be assistants to the physical therapist. These students actually teach patients or help patients through workouts for therapy. We have radiological technology, so x-rays, respiratory care, that's specialization in the lungs and the heart. Health information technology, I like to kind of talk about this program as you want to work in the medical field and you don't like blood or don't want to work with people directly. This is a lot of paperwork. A lot of these people actually can work from home. Diagnostic sonography. So there's more than just seeing beautiful babies inside mamas, but that's part of it. Surgical technology, so assisting in the surgical room, nuclear medicine, and anesthesiology technology. Again, they also have business. They have geographic information systems, so like Google Maps. They have IT. They have library technician and sign language interpreting. So I really like this program right here. You can know 0 sign language and then go leave the program being extremely fluent. It's really amazing. So I have to mention this program, the nursing program, because everybody wants to be in our nursing program. So To be a part of the nursing program, you do have to do some prerequisites to apply to get into our program. So the 3 classes that the students have to have before they apply is biology, anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, and microbiology. The students have to try to do their best. I say A's. They will take some B's, but they really want students who are making A's in those classes. They have to pass a test called the HESI test, or take it and make a certain score, and complete a series of vaccinations that can take up to 6 months, okay? For our nursing program, students can only apply twice. Once accepted, the student is in there full time. So it could be 8 to 5 or 7:30 to 4:30, something like that. Later, when they're like in their last year, they'll actually do clinical rotations. So right now I'm currently pregnant with my 3rd child, but when I had my 2nd child, when I went into labor, I went to the hospital and it was filled with our nursing students, and I thought it was really cool. And I think like 5 of our nursing students actually gave, they're like, can we watch you give birth? I was like, okay, for school, sure, why not? So they watched me give birth. They're like, wow, it's like right, how they said in the textbook. And one of them did her final on me. Once I had the baby, she did a final exam. Another one gave my baby a bath, her first bath. So these students are actually getting real world experience before they even graduate. And one of my favorite nurses was actually a adjunct professor for our nursing program. So that was really cool to find out. Once students complete this program, they are eligible to take the state licensure exam to be an RN. And they can be fine and make really good money doing just this, but the state of Texas really wants nurses to have at least a bachelor's degree. So we do have partnerships with other schools like Tarrant. Actually, Tarrant takes up the 3rd floor of our building at Trinity River, and students can just go up 1 more floor, do 1 more year with them, and then earn their bachelor's in nursing. So that's a really cool experience. So the Northeast campus, this was in Hearst. Again, they also have business. One of their specialization is fashion merchandising. So students have to learn textiles and how to buy for, big corporates and things like that. We have child development. This is basically for students that want to be preschool teachers. We actually have a preschool on campus at Northeast, and it's the cutest thing ever. Our students have their own students to work with, 2 to 5-year-olds. We have convergence technologies there, so more IT. We have the dental hygienist program there, the EMT program there. We have graphic communications, which is like graphic design, mental health and human services, paralegal studies. A lot of students don't know what paralegal studies is. Basically, they do all the research for lawyers. So they do all the hard paperwork stuff. A lot of those classes are actually taught by lawyers, so a lot of those classes are at night. We have the radio, television, and film program there as well. Basically, if you know anybody that wants to be a DJ on the radio, they have their own radio station, they have their own TV station. Students learn how to work the cameras, they learn how to be in front of the cameras, they learn how to work the control rooms, things like that. We actually let students borrow our cameras so they don't have to buy them. We also have commercial photography there. So again, we let students borrow the cameras. It's crazy if anybody's like hired a professional private photographer, it's crazy how much they charge. They charge for taking the pictures, they charge for editing sometimes, they charge per picture, and then they charge for prints. So imagine how much, one of our students can make in a business like that. We also have the real estate program there. We do have a 2-year degree in it, but a lot of times students don't want to do the 2-year, and there is 5 classes that are required by the state of Texas to be a real estate agent, and we offer them in 1 certificate. So that's a really good option. So the dental hygienist program at Northeast, it's a very competitive program. They only take 24 students at a time. Students can only apply 3 times. And basically they're the ones that do all the cleaning and things like that at the dentist office. They make fairly well, believe about $35 an hour. A lot of them can make up their own schedules. Once they're accepted in the program, it is a full-time program from 8 to 5. It's very strict program as well. I've heard of people getting kicked out for being late to class. So it's a very competitive, very strict, and they'll learn a lot in this program. Our Northwest campus, the one off of Lake Worth, there's a beautiful lake there. Students can learn how to sail boats there if they want. So through this campus, on campus, they do again have business. They do have a concentration in entrepreneurship and small business management. So I was a business major, and I earned my bachelor's in business. And I didn't learn as much on or through school through there than I did when I was actually running my own businesses. I feel like programs like this that concentrate on entrepreneurship program actually teach more. So things like what y'all are learning here as well, like budgeting and accounting and just concentrating all that stuff into one place is what people really need to know if they're trying to run their own business. But on the campus as well, the big ones on there, we have the criminal justice program, the fire academy, we have horticulture, which is learning how to grow plants. A lot of our students that go through there own their own landscaping businesses. And then through different sites, through the Alliance Airport, we have the aviation program. So students can learn how to fly an airplane or a helicopter. Students could also learn how to work on airplanes. So just like we need mechanics for our cars, we need mechanics for our airplanes. There's two different degrees. We have an airframe, which is auto body, and power plant, which is engine. So they make, we have a dual credit program with, I believe, Keller ISD, and I met some students in this program. And as 18-year-olds, when they graduated, they were promised a job making $30 an hour as an 18-year-old. It's really good money. That's to start off. I know somebody else that does it, and they make about $85 an hour. So it's really good money for aviation mechanics. So just to touch on these bases, we do have the fire academy for students that want to be firefighters. We have a fall, spring, and summer academy. They take 24 cadets at a time. It is a full-time program from 7:30 to 4:30. They do have to apply to get into the program. Firefighters have to be EMT certified. So a lot of our students actually go to Northeast campus, first get the EMT certification, then they apply for a fire academy. Firefighters have to be at least 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and a driver's license, and have a doctor's release, okay? With these type of programs with the fire academy and the police academy, I always suggest students to first speak to the department that they want to work for. So each city may have different requirements for their firefighters or police officers. So some may want you to go to a specific academy. Some of them may need you to have a degree or something like that. We do give first priority for students that are already employed with a department over others. And this is, if you can go through a department first, they could also pay for your tuition and for a salary. So you wouldn't have to go get a second job. So just to touch on the police academy, they do 6 basic academies. Again, they have to have a psych eval, doctor's notice, high school diploma, driver's license. In the state of Texas, you have to be 21 years of age to be a police officer. You don't have to be 21 to do the program, but it's a hit or miss. A lot of the smaller towns have less restrictions. So there's also a cutoff for 37 and a half to start being a police officer. But again, smaller towns may be a little bit more lenient with that. And again, the academy is all day, 8 to 5. Okay, Southeast, the one in Arlington. This one, again, they have business, they have IT. One specialization is dietetics, so being a nutritionist. We have the culinary arts program there. It's one of the biggest programs there. And they also have hospitality management. So students interested in, working in hotels, running restaurants, travel and tourism, they can learn all that here. So again, the culinary arts program is the biggest program there. It's they have a 2-year degree, and they also have the certificates in food service supervision and culinary nutrition. In this program, they learn basic to intermediate cooking skills, baking, advanced pastry arts, and international cuisine. The Connect campus, this one's the online campus. These right here are the handful of degrees students can do completely online. With the other degrees, a lot of the academics can be done online, but because they are technical programs, we want students to get hands-on experience. So they need to be able to do things hands-on. But the Connect campus does offer accounting, a bunch of business programs like entrepreneurship and general business and accounting, and office technology professionals, so learning to work in an office environment. And guys, that was the gist of all of our programs, our 5-6 campuses. We have a ton of other stuff though. So there's opportunities through our community education and engagement department. So sometimes I have students that say, Jessica, I don't want to do 2 years. I don't want to do a year. Is there something that I can do something really fast, really quick? Yes, we have a lot of non-credit programs, things like, let's see, wedding planning, cake decorating, let's see, what else? Professional personal trainer. There's a lot of like programs like that. There are, masseuse. So if you want to learn how to do massages, things like that, we have a lot of programs like that. That department also offers test prep for students that maybe need help with SAT or GED or GRE. And they do also a lot of professional conferences and seminars. And thank you for hearing me talk for this whole time. And hopefully I'm here to answer any questions that y'all may have. I gotta find the chat. Where's my chat?
All right. Thank you so much for providing us with all that great information. I can't say that I knew that TCC provided all of those different areas of training. I knew quite a bit, but I don't think I knew everything. So it's good that we have this out there. We have this on tape for the community to be able to know as well. And one of the questions I had off the top of my head is, is there a place where, like, I'm a student, I'm considering doing something. Is there somebody, do I call you and say, look, can we just take, 15 minutes or 30 minutes to kind of talk about what I might want to do and how I might fit in at TCC?
Yeah, that's generally what I do. A lot of success coaches, or pretty much anybody, is open to hear to students. A lot of our professors, like let's say somebody's interested in construction management, the coordinator for that program is James Howard. He loves to talk about architecture and construction management. So to say, hey, I want to do this, how did you get there? So a lot of people like to, see what their experience, explain their experiences, so people have an idea what they may need to do to get into that line of work.
So
but
how would a, so let's say I am interested, how do I find that person? Do I go into the electronic catalog, or, because I don't know, I was a person, okay, well, let's say I am interested in construction management. Okay, where do I look to maybe contact that person?
Yeah, so you can contact someone like me. I mean, y'all feel free. My name is Jessica Tran. My email is jessica.tran@tccd.edu. But always feel free to just visit our website, go to tccd.edu. And you can put in the search bar at the top right, something that may interest you. Let's say nursing. If you put nursing in, you'll pull it up in the search engine. It'll tell you everything that you need to know about nursing. A lot of our allied health programs have monthly information sessions to give you more information on how to get into that program.
Okay, awesome. So I would ask, when you get a chance, if you would type it into your information into the chat section, that'd be great. And really, I don't have any other questions, so I'm going to hand it over to the legend. Bob Bray, you have questions over there? Unmute yourself first, though.
Sorry about that. Jessica, thank you very much, because I thought I knew TCC pretty well, but I definitely learned a lot. But basically what you're telling us, I mean, if I'm interested in business, I can go to basically any campus
Mhm.
and take those courses, right?
Yes.
So I can go to the campus that's nearest me. For some of
Yes.
these other courses, I'll have to go to one of these special campuses.
Yes. So each one has their own specialization. If you can imagine, it's a huge facility. And also, feel free, if you're interested in any of these programs, ask for a tour. You know, it's really fun to see students and professors actually do the thing that they want to do. So that could inspire you. So one of my favorite tours to do is the police academy and the fire academy. If that's something you want to do, that's something that's really going to get your heart racing. They'll actually show you how they can climb up like a 4-story building and propel off of it. They'll actually take you to where they do drills, where they set buildings on fire, and you can actually feel the heat, and they actually have to go in and put it out. So it's great to actually see it before you actually spend your time studying it and don't have no idea what you're going to get into. Also tell that to students that are interested in a field that they think they're interested in. Please go actually work it, you know, do internships, do volunteer work. Like me personally, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Growing up my whole life, I wanted to be a veterinarian. But I learned that I have a lot of skin sensitivities and allergies. Once I worked at a veterinarian clinic, I was like, oh, I can't do this. Like I can mentally do it, but I'm constantly sneezing. I'm getting dirty. I'm getting covered in fleas. So you don't know yourself until you actually go and do the work.
Yeah, and I don't know how it was this year, but it seems to me that TCC has a total population of student body of around 50,000. Or am I right on that?
That I'm not sure of how many students we have altogether. It fluctuates. I will say it went down during COVID, especially for CTE programs, and I actually been talking to students that are looking to go back into the fall. They said, I want to do hands-on work. I learned better that way. So we're having more students coming in this fall now that we're completely going back to normal this fall.
Okay, and what I was getting to, I was just wondering what percentage of the student body is actually enrolled in these technology courses. Do you know that?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's a big portion of I almost want to say half and half, because these programs are a big part of TCC.
And one of the things you said that the welding program fills up real fast.
Yes.
That's because of how much the pay is once you finish that program?
Yeah, because the word is if you complete the first certificate, you can get a job pretty much anywhere as a welder. But pretty much an employer just wants to see you, do that work, and they want to know that you can do it. So the reason really that we fill up is because they make really good money, but we also have limited seats because there's different stations that the students actually work for or work in, and we can only, fill up so many spots. But we try to have as many classes through the day as possible. So we try to accommodate more students.
And how long is that course, by the way? Do you know?
Well, the whole program is a 2-year program, but students can break it down into a 1-year or 2-year certificate.
I want to go back to something else you mentioned at the beginning about the cost of TCC, which is really a bargain. And I do advise families who are trying to get kids through college. If you want to save some money, I mean, if those students want to go to Tarrant County College or any other community college for that matter, for the first 2 years before transferring, you will save a lot of money. Even at another state school, going to UNT, as your chart suggested. I know when my son went to UNT, I paid more in the first semester than I did at UNT my entire college career. So it's expensive now. And the other thing, and you may want to comment on this a little more, and I'm not going to run down the for-profit schools, but many of them guarantee, quote, a job.
I'm
And the
glad you
number,
mentioned that. Yeah.
the number of people who come out of some of those schools with a so-called guaranteed job and don't get jobs, and they have this huge debt that they're paying for having gone to those schools. It's
Mhm.
really an eye opener. So, like I said, I'm not trying to run down any particular school, but I've seen those cases, and that's really sad.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I've seen a ton of those cases too, where students go for, and the thing is, these schools take their financial aid. So
Exactly.
they run their financial aid through the ground, and then when students are like, you know what, I learned that that wasn't the best option for me. Now can I come here? And I'm like, yeah, but you're out of financial aid. Like you're gonna have to pay out of pocket. But at least we're a lot less expensive than other schools. Also, we don't take hardly any of their credits. Actually, yeah, I will say no, we don't take any of their credits. We have in the past for dire situations, but they basically start over. So I say don't waste your time with certain programs. I've also had students that say that, okay, so I'll use my cousin as an example. She went to a technical school for architecture, and she started and she said, I hated it. It was just a bunch of packet, work. So she dropped out for whatever reason. Then she went back. She owed 20 grand for a program she did not complete. And then they said if she wanted to start again, it was going to be another 20 grand. So, and whatever she had already completed did not count towards this new program, or the same program, but restarting it. So things like that are nightmares. I've had another student that signed up recently, and he's actually not our student, but he wanted to be our student. He's $50,000 in debt into a technical program that he didn't even do. And so and he's a veteran, so they took his VA benefits, they took his financial aid. So just be very careful when you look into those for-profit schools. But I would say just look at their accreditations as well.
Yeah, and the TCC, and I think it has relationships with universities in the area like UTA and
Yeah.
UNT.
We pride ourselves on having a lot of partners. So we just want students to find their end goal. So if their end goal is to have a master's or be a doctor or whatever, well, let us help you. Let us be that stepping stone for you. And another great thing about that, because we have all these partnerships, we have scholarships. Schools will offer our students transfer scholarships. So that's another great thing about TCC. Let's say a student went to high school, they did the basics, they did the minimum, their grades weren't that great, they weren't terrible, but they weren't that great. So when they go to TCC, they have a new fresh start. They make really good grades at TCC. Those schools will notice that. Okay, so maybe those scholarships weren't there before, but now that you've proved yourself that you can do really good work, they will give you scholarships to transfer. Big schools like TCU will give you a transfer scholarship.
Excellent. Well, Jessica, those are the only questions I have. Thank you very much for this information. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I'm here for whenever y'all need me.
Bob Ray, are there any other questions in the on Facebook or in the chat?
I don't see any on Facebook or chat right now. So
Okay, I see a question asked, are there any early learning education programs? And I guess it's like, up to maybe first grade or something, I think.
We have during the summer, we have something called College for Kids. So if you have kiddos that have nothing to do in the summer, send them to one of our campuses, sign them up through the community education department. And it's just a fun way for them to keep doing classes so they're not bored at home. They go through math, reading, and some fun stuff like Lego building, science, things like that. We also have Upward Bound for a lot of our high school students. They work with those students throughout the school year, and then they do a fun thing in the summer as well. I've actually worked with that program. So they do classes, fun classes, but also like maybe Spanish or language class or writing or reading or English. So they're their skills don't go down in the summer. And then at the end of it, they do a fun trip. Like I've been to Washington, D.C. with that program. They've taken the kids to New York, Florida. There's a lot of fun stuff for them.
I need to join that program. I need a trip. I think maybe, so that's good. That looks like that was answered. Well, if we don't have any other questions, Bob Ray, I'm going to thank you, Jessica Tran, for coming on with us. Thank you, TCC, for allowing Jessica some time. And we appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye and hand it over to Bob Ray.
Bye.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, I'll just go over the announcements very quickly one more time before we get out of here. Reminding you again that our annual luncheon is tomorrow, June 25th at noon. Those who will be in the building with us, they know all about it, but those of you going to join us virtually to hear Dr. Case L. Lawal, one of the most influential African-American businessmen in the country and the owner of a bank, a national bank that is the only Black-owned bank in Texas and Georgia. He will be speaking on banking relationships in times like these. All of our members should have gotten a Zoom link for that. If you didn't get it, and if you want to get it, check out our Facebook page. That Zoom link should be on there, and all of our other social media, including Instagram and well, you know, all those things. So that's tomorrow at noon. Expect to see you there. A reminder that the third Tuesday of each month is the Next Level Entrepreneur School. That is a 2-hour interactive workshop. I'll give you all the information you need to know about starting a business and keeping a business going. That's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Every third Tuesday, I'm sorry, at 7 p.m. So join us for that. And every second Thursday of the month is our Let's Get Connected networking event. It too is virtual right now. Hope to have that in person by next month. And a reminder that unemployed Texans who are still getting the $300 per week benefit from the federal government in addition to the state program, that will end on Saturday, according to Governor Abbott. And one last thing, and we'll give you more information on this later. If you want help in getting money for an internship for people, the state of Texas, through the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, will fund half of an internship. And for semesters beginning next year, you need to apply by July 30th. As I said, we'll have more of that information on our Facebook page as well. And that's it, Darryl.
All right, Bob Ray. I appreciate you for giving us those announcements. I have nothing to add. We want to thank Jessica Tran again from Tarrant County College. Thank Tarrant County College for allowing her to be with us. We want to thank our sponsor, TXU Energy, for their assistance and their funding. If you need energy for electricity for your home or for your business, we ask that you would take a look at TXU Energy. And with that, we're going to say goodbye. We'll see you next week on another edition of the State of Your Business webinar. I'm Darryl Brewer, Economic Development Manager. I'm here with the legend, Mr. Bob Ray Sanders, and we'll see you next week. The Lord says the same. Bye now.
Take care.